Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm very excited to have here with me special guest John Witherspoon. How are you?
I'm okay. I've been a little tired. I've been tired all day, and actually I listened to some Coldplay and some Def Leppard, and that helped to push me over the hump to make it to this time of day. So
Do I not make fun of you enough? Is that basically what you're telling us then?
why would you make fun of me?
Because you just talked about Coldplay and Def Leppard in the first 5 seconds of the show. Do I not make fun of you enough?
If you want to diss Coldplay and Def Leppard, that's on you, I'm afraid.
I actually admitted on a live stream recently, I do enjoy Coldplay, and a lot of people made fun of me, but I felt the need to make fun of you. So.
Coldplay's great.
They are great. Chris Martin, except for Invictus. But he was married to Gwyneth Paltrow, who's now anti-Meghan Markle. Full circle. See what I did there? But I know why you're tired, John, and it's not because the reasons you're saying. It's because we're saying your full name, John Witherspoon. Obviously, we're just going to call you W now for Witherspoon.
Okay. I've been called worse.
That one is going to be called. Just kidding. No, the reason I bring that up is John and I have been having lots of conversations behind the scenes, mostly where I call him Sam the Eagle, but otherwise talking about how ridiculous it is that Meghan is incapable of referring to H as anything except for my husband. We'll go through all the different names. There's a couple of names she calls him, but mostly it's my husband. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, how are you, John?
I'm good. Like I said, I've recovered from the doldrums earlier in the day.
That's good. It's because you're so excited to be here amongst the flock, right?
Exactly. Right. Yes.
And speaking of flock, John, I need your legal advice. I need your help with something. I might need to sue somebody.
Uh-oh. I'll do what I can.
Should we disclaim this? This is not actual legal advice.
It's probably good to say that, yes.
Okay.
Especially since I don't have a Florida license. I only have I've got my licenses in the mid-Atlantic region, my multiple licenses.
Well, still, I need legal opinions, legal counsel. I don't know, whatever. Because I would like to sue Meghan because, well, she inflicted emotional distress on us both for having to watch With Love Meghan. But I'll talk about that later. Right now, I want to talk about, John, I own GEESE. She's taking GEESE and she's trying to make it her thing.
Right.
That's not okay with me.
Appropriation of some sort, yes.
That's right. I'm not okay, and I did not consent to that. So I would like to know my rights. And if you'd rather, I could consult Ben Chew. And if you guys don't remember, Ben Chew, of course, is the fabulous attorney for Johnny Depp against Amber Heard.
Well, I'll probably see him in a couple of weeks, and when I do, I'll tell him to just give you a call for a consultation. Yeah.
I'm sure I could afford him. 1 hour and I'm broke. Right?
Wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure he's not cheap.
That's right. I want to make a joke about you being cheap, but I'll leave it. Okay, here we go. But now I brought you on here because we're going to go full circle with this. Meghan's doing weird stuff involving GEESE. I want to get your take on that. And then it gets weird about Harry. And you and I have been talking about wanting to do something forever about the names and how weird that is. And so it actually came full circle. So if you don't mind, I'd like to play the video real quick that we're referring to in case people haven't seen it.
Sure.
We'll talk about our thoughts. So again, think about this, from a legal standpoint, because I would like to see what my legal rights are. Here we go. Hang on. Sorry, that's something else that popped up on screen. Let me take that down. All right, here we go. We'll get to that weirdness. And first, we'll go to this weirdness one more time. So Meghan's Instagram. And it says, flying into the week with my family. Is tiny. That's something like that. But we hear kid voices, and then at the bottom it says, hold on. All right. I'm going to turn that off so I don't have to hear it over and over. But let's see here. At the bottom, we've got, hold on 1 second. Oh, come on. The tiniest print in the whole wide world.
Isn't that the truth? It's always that way.
It's always
that way. I don't know who's expected to read that.
Seriously. And she does that. I don't know Instagram. I don't know if you can change the size, but hers always seems especially hard to read. And it's like in this like loopy.
It's tiny and it's italic. So
yes. Here we go. So
by the way, can you just pause it right there?
Of course. Yes. Right here.
I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but when I take pictures either with my camera or my phone, I try not to point the camera into the sun. Call me crazy, but you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that.
That's
oh, go ahead. Uh-huh.
I mean, that's a good way to, I would think you could blow out something in your camera.
That's true. That's true.
That wouldn't be happy about that much light, but.
Well, in fairness, she's crediting My H. It says, thanks to My H for capturing this. So Doofus was staring at the sun is basically what I'm gathering here. But this is something I wanted to talk about. First off, I want to mention, I think it's interesting that she's been doing this a lot where she alludes to him being behind the camera, but there's no proof of him being behind the camera. So is he actually there? Don't know. But I just think it's weird to go out of your way to photo credit. So John, if you and I were walking around DC and you got a picture of something cool, yeah, I'd probably mention that I was with you, but I don't know if I'd put it in writing right there. To me, it screams, I need to prove that My H is here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a little bit performative, and it's a little bit.
Yeah, especially husband and wife. You're going to expect that they're together. I could make a case why you or I might do it, like a friend that you don't get to see very often. Sure.
Right. But it's a way, it strikes me, to sort of make sure everybody knows what's going on here. It's not, you would think that the audience that's going to see it would kind of figure out, oh, well, yeah, maybe Harry took that, or Harry probably took that, or we had all she'd have to say would be, we had a great day at the beach and had some fun, had a fun flyover or something like that.
Exactly.
But you had said before, and I think it's a very good point, the extent to which when Meghan refers to Harry, invariably it's some sort of a possessive type of relationship. My husband, my H.
Yes, you're exactly right.
And it's just sort of strikes me as kind of being, why can't she just call him Harry? I mean, they're entitled to call each other what they want, don't get me wrong, but it just seems a little odd to me that, I mean, I just don't hear other people being as possessive in their commentary about their spouse or their girlfriend or their boyfriend or partner or whatever you want to say.
You're exactly right. And I have lots of instances I want to go into on that, because it's more than just a one-off. It's more than just an occasional. Of course, occasionally you're going to say, my wife and I, my husband and I, blah, blah, blah. That's his whole identity now. It's odd. I agree.
Yeah. Well, and we had also talked a little bit about the H of it all.
Yes.
And we both had kind of laughed because we both like James Bond movies. And of course, you've got M and Q in the James Bond movies.
Yes.
And you've got the characters, 007, obviously, but then you've got 009 and the other 00s that are referenced once in a while. And the whole point of it, I mean, the thing that's interesting is that in the James Bond movies, when they refer to other people as a number, a serial number, or as just a letter of the alphabet, it's kind of there's definitely, there's a mystery to it. It's like, okay, well, I know you by your secret code number or your secret agent number or by your alphabet letter, but I really don't know what your real name is. And in fact, I think in Skyfall, there's an episode in M's apartment where James Bond actually almost says her name. And I think and her response, Judi Dench's character, her response is, "You utter one more syllable and I'll have you killed," I think is what she said. And so, it's just it's sort of like, yes, we have a relationship, but we also have this very defined no man's land between us, and that's represented by the anonymity of just using a letter. I don't know. I just think it's, again, it could be totally innocuous, it could be totally innocent and fun or whatever, but it just, I don't know. I don't think it speaks well for the relationship. That's my vibe off of it.
I totally agree with you. And I want to go into all that, but John, you're killing me. We're trying to talk geese. Talk to me about my legal rights about the geese.
Oh, we're about the geese. Well, gosh, sorry. The geese. Yes. Well, I don't know, unless you have some sort of a relationship with the geese.
I do. I have the entire flockers. Come on.
You have all of these geese?
I do. All geese. They're all mine. Do you know how the queen has the legal rights to the swans?
Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
I have
that's true.
Geese. That's right.
Yeah. Good question. I would have to research that a little bit, I think.
I would have to research bird law. What's the problem?
It could be something so as simple as just, potentially it could be just, simple theft. If somebody else's.
My intellectual property? I mean.
No, I just mean the actual geese. Someone is absconding with your geese.
I noticed that they're flying away from Harry and Meghan. Oh, I wish one of them had.
Well, that's always a possibility,
That's true. That's funny. Okay. All right. Fine. You're making good points. We'll go back to the H. No, you're right. That's exactly where I wanted to go with this. First, I had to point out she's trying to make geese her thing. It's clearly my thing. So back off, Meghan. But further proof that she watches our channels, just saying. But I had about 1 million people tag me on Twitter saying, "Jen, she's coming for us." And I was like, I know. So I said I'd, consult my attorney, Ben Chu.
Right. Yeah. Give Ben a call.
I will. And also, if you guys don't watch Always Sunny, that's an ongoing joke, is that Charlie, one of my favorite characters, always says he specializes in bird law. So, John, I would hope that you would also specialize in bird law.
I'll work on it. I'll take a CLE class on it.
Perfect. That's right. But no, okay, fine. You're making really good points. I guess we'll go back to the good points. But you're exactly right. I did want to talk more about that. And you're right about we've talked about before the H. She calls him several things, and I may have some points on each, but the three main I noticed, and you let me know if you've noticed different, but H, has, and my husband. Has that been generally what you've noticed as well?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Those three. Absolutely.
So H first popped up around, the first I could find was around October 2019. That was on that South African thing. That's what got me into this whole thing, is just being like, oh my God, they're terrible. South Africa interview where, of course, she was steps away from a women's shelter, and she was complaining about how hard she had it as a royal family member. But she said, "I've said for a long time to H," and then she pauses and kind of smiles and says, "That's what I call him." So that's about the first time that I can recall calling him H. To use a single initial like H, when I was looking and thinking about psychology of it, I think it's, at that point, it was to show the maybe the intimacy, the familiarity, but it's reducing a person to shorthand and suggesting almost that, in theory, that Harry is an extension of herself. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe that I was getting from there. What are your thoughts on calling him H? I think it's evolved since then to become almost derogatory toward him, but what do you think?
Well, it's there's a certain, To me, there's a certain element of disconnection. I mean, for instance, when she refers to the dog, she talks about Guy.
That's true.
She doesn't refer to the dog as G.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, it just, again, it's kind of I think there's a subtle disconnection. It's again, a way to sort of have a no man's land or a demilitarized zone or some sort of it's kind of just a way to place it seems like it's a way to place a barrier between the two of them. I don't know how else to.
Too.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think about is she's I mean, I can't diagnose, but in my opinion, she seems very narcissistic. So I would think he's got the more recognizable name. So by cutting that part, it's like elevating herself by pushing him down, perhaps something like that.
Well, sure. And I mean, we see that all the time. That's not something that's exclusive to Meghan, but it's certainly conceivable that's what she's, that's what she's doing on a subconscious level. I mean, I'm like you, I'm not equipped to diagnose, and we're all just talking about everything we're talking about is just sort of conjecture and opinion and observation, but it's an interesting theory. Certainly.
That's a good point, W. That's a very good point.
W. And I have my own hotels, by the way. Maybe you've heard of them, the W hotels. They're pretty good.
Oh, okay. Is that where you're filming from now?
No, unfortunately, no.
But I'm just thinking, yeah. So I'm sorry, I just said WH. It's just, it's rude. It's stripping away his identity. It's just, it just doesn't. Again, this is just my impression of what's going on, but it just doesn't seem very. It doesn't seem very loving. It doesn't seem very warm. It's not warm, exactly.
And somebody might tell you that it is, but again, it just, because it seems like it's a way to have to make sure that there's a distance. It just doesn't come across that way. And again, that's just opinion.
I totally agree with you. I get the exact same feeling. And even if, let's say, every day over breakfast, she calls me H, fine. I don't believe it, but fine. Great. Whatever. But when you're in a public setting, or you know what I mean? Like I don't talk to you the same way behind the scenes that I would on microphone. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just different with different people. So I don't know. I just find it odd.
Yeah. It's just something, so much of what people talk about in the context of Meghan and Harry is, a little snippet observation here and a little snippet observation there. And this is just one of those little things. The same thing as, the claw, or her walking. Yes, exactly. Or her walking with her hand in the middle of his back, or
elbowing out of the way.
Yeah, it's just one of those little. I don't like the word microaggression, but in a way, that's kind of what it is.
Sure. Yes, because you're exactly right. At anybody else in the world, I'd be like, okay, she's calling him whatever.
Well, I mean, as we've discussed so many times as well, just as a convenient contrast, compare and contrast.
Yes.
Prince William, Princess Catherine. They seem a lot more like a solid couple to me. They seem to have a little bit of a secret language. They know, okay, I'm looking over here. I see something that's funny. Hey, check this out. You would like this. You know what I mean? There's that unspoken. It's like, if you're at home with someone and you're the only two people in the room, you don't act. If you want to say something, you don't just call out the person's name to start the conversation. Hey, Catherine, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just like, did you see the article in the Daily Mail today about my brother and sister-in-law? That would be the way a conversation would start. And I just don't get that vibe from Prince Harry and Meghan, and
Right.
I think other people feel the same way.
I think so too. I think absolutely you're right. The next name I wanted to talk about was Has.
Yeah.
So that one, so I believe that it was around the time, like the first I found on film was around, she calls him that on James Corden. She's like, oh, sorry. Huh. But I actually was trying to think, I think I've heard it before that. I think around the time of the engagement, she tried to say, who's Has? Like something along those lines. And I can't remember exactly where I got that from, but I've heard her call him Has before. But on James Corden, she says, how's your tour of LA going? And they made a big deal. And James Corden said something about, can I call you Has? And he said, no, only my wife can call me Has, something like that. So
yeah. Well, and that's there. I mean, there's, again, speaking of compare and contrast. Well, only my wife can call me Has. Mm-hmm. Well, what about the late Queen? Only Prince Philip can call me Lilibet. Well, at least until my grandson and granddaughter-in-law come along, and then they'll just seemingly hijack that name as well.
You are brilliant.
Recollections may vary on exactly what happened there, and we've heard different versions of the story, obviously, but it's just interesting to compare the James Corden, only certain people can use that name, and then, well, what happened with your grandmother?
You make a great point. Or should I say Waz? You make a great point.
Yeah, Waz, right.
No, seriously, that's brilliant. That's so spot on, and that sums up exactly what's awful about the pair of them. You're right. You're absolutely right. You mean a private nickname? You don't want that. But also, I'm calling BS because she knew it was being filmed. She's calling him Has, and then he's like, "No, my wife." You know, if it was a private nickname, you wouldn't be sharing it on TV, idiot. Anyway.
Well, and again, it. I mean, you mentioned it being filmed. It's almost like the Mindy Kaling. You know, I'm Sussex now. It's like, can we talk about just sort of what seems like bad acting, that could easily have been edited out, but I think it struck a lot of people as this was in some ways potentially scripted, and it certainly could have been removed, but it wasn't. So in the totality of all the circumstances, it certainly seems like a similar type of situation where it's, we're trying to get this out there by accident, by accident.
Absolutely. Yep. I think you're so spot on. Now, when I was looking into it, the thing that came up that I wasn't even thinking about, but doing some Googling into Has, they said it's a very, it's popular in British culture to take a name and to do, like, they referred to like Hazza as something that he would have been called and stuff. I can't really speak to that, but I find that interesting, in which case it would be a tie back to the UK. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a way to reframe his identity through her lens. It's less formal than, Prince Harry, obviously. And just, I don't know. I just think it's condescending, to come in and co-opt this British nickname, because there are indications that he was called that by some of his friends, possibly. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, I remember someone saying one time, now there are obviously exceptions to the rule, and I know some people that can't stand their name, but I also know that there is I think it's a pretty well-regarded truism in pop psychology that the one word that sounds most beautiful to any person in the whole world is their first name.
Oh, interesting.
And I think there's some truth to that. And so for somebody to come along, and again, we have no idea, maybe he's fine with it. Maybe they reached some agreement. Maybe he doesn't like Harry. Yeah. I mean, he could have gone by something else, he's certainly got a lot of choices. What you know, I mean, just like Meghan. Apparently, she didn't like Rachel, so she went by Meghan. All right, fine.
Well, and his real first name is Henry, so
yes. So there's a lot of wiggle room in there, but still, it kind of is, as you said, there's a twinge of dehumanization and of condescension.
I think
that's all part of it.
Absolutely. Now, as of late, you and I have had lots of discussions about my husband, because that seems to be, to me, I've noticed it, especially since the post Oprah of it all, a lot of my husband. Calling someone my husband in public repeatedly, it's to me, strikes me as, in my opinion, as a possessive marker, emphasizing ownership. It is my, and everything orbits around my husband. It's about the relation to her, and and it overshadows his personal identity.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. I once knew a woman who, she was in her 20s, and she talked constantly. Every sentence that came out of her started with, my boyfriend said, my boyfriend and I, my boyfriend wants to, and people, it became a running joke among other people sort of in her orbit. Yeah. In fact, there was even a song about it, which I will not I will not threaten you with trying to sing.
Hear that song.
What's that?
We're going to need to hear that song.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
It was actually set to if you've ever seen the movie To Live and Die in LA, and the theme song of that is a movie that came out in the 80s, a really good movie, by the way. It's about a Secret Service agent, and the theme song was by Wang Chung.
Oh, okay.
Which also the band that did Dance Hall Days and a couple of other things. But anyway, this particular song about this person was set to the music of To Live and Die in LA. Anyway, I digress. It just again, it's kind of like everybody knows that Harry is your husband.
Yeah.
Why do you have to say my husband, my husband? Everybody knows that. If you say Harry, you're not going to confuse anyone about who Harry is. Everybody knows it.
It's so bizarre.
So, yeah. It just, again, it's like, okay, you're not reading the room, and you're not reading the world in the same way that the world is reading you. And you're not reading your relationship and the way you should speak about your relationship in the way that the rest of the world. I've heard William refer to, Catherine or Kate or, whatever it is. It's like, okay, this is what everybody does. And no, but when Prince William talks about Kate or Catherine, it's whatever his preferred form of address is. I'm sure he calls her Kate at home. I wouldn't want to say Catherine all the time. Unless she asked for that. I know she's asked for that in public, but and maybe they have nicknames for each other too. But again, there's a mystery about it. In public, you refer to each other in a way that everybody understands. There's no giant mystery here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're respectful of each other in public. Yeah.
Right.
She doesn't call him my schmoopy bear in public.
Right.
But yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. I think it just reinforces, in my opinion, Meghan's seeming narcissism, because it's framing it. It's framing him as her possession, my husband. It'll be interesting to see, because we're going to get into the kids. I don't talk about the kids, but she's rolling out more pictures of the children. And it'll be interesting to see, as she does that, if they actually have names as well, or if it's my children, my kids, my children. So interesting. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's the repetitive way. And I was thinking about the psychology of that, because it's a repetitive, almost like tick or something. And saying my this, my that over and over, they start to notice the emphasis becomes the my rather than, the who she's talking about. So right. I think it's important. And it's an interesting
point, I think, too. I was just watching something else this afternoon briefly. I don't even know what it was. It was just playing in the background, but somebody was talking about the fact that one of Meghan's goals in her Netflix show was apparently to present herself more softly and to make herself more likable and to be more relatable.
I think she missed it on all of those. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, yes, I think she did. And I think a lot of people think she did. But what I was going to say is when you're talking about my husband, again, it's as though there's a distance between her and her potential audience that they don't know if she would say just Harry or H even or has, that people would not know who she's talking about. So that automatically presumes that there is not a close relationship between her and the audience that she's trying to appeal to. So again, it's just another it's another disconnect. She's not reading the room in the way that the room is reading her.
Ah, that's such a good point. Wow, you're on fire today. The Lilibet point, now this? What's going on with you? You must have had a banana split or something.
Banana split?
Yeah.
Wait.
Is that what's got your brain working in overdrive?
Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, heck, here we go. All right. So people asked, last time I was on, people asked about the bowl.
Fancy bowl.
Everybody wanted to know, this is the concrete bowl. It's $39. It's not $150. Thank goodness. I'd be embarrassed to be holding it, be seen with it if it was $100. It was $39, I found out. And it weighs 7 pounds. So it's not a small bowl. But the thing I wanted to mention was if I tilt it down a little bit.
Oh, look at you.
There's a banana split.
Banana split. Oh.
And look, I've got a blueberry. And I've got some whipped cream. And I've got a couple little pieces of breakfast cereal here, cornflakes or something. And then there's a little piece of shredded wheat here. Yeah. So I am grateful that I was given the opportunity to learn how to do something like this.
That's right. See,
so
you and you've left this the stem parts on like she did. That's amazing.
I did. Let me. If people missed that, the right here of it.
That's right. That's
still got the stem. So anyway, I'm looking very forward to that. By the way, this is probably a good opportunity since we're talking about food.
Yes. Yes, my friend John. I'm only going to call you my friend John, though, by the way. So that way I remind the audience over and over, you are my friend John, so they don't get confused. My friend John.
Thank you. Thank you. Clarity is important. Clarity. So the other, the second show and tell item is...
Whoa, the special pretzels.
The special pretzels, yes.
Tell us about the special pretzels, my friend John.
These came from Trader Joe's. $2.49.
Wow.
16 ounces, 1 pound, 454 grams.
But you can only eat them out of a separate plastic bag. Is that correct?
That's correct. That is correct. Not to be eaten out of this bag.
Yes.
So we have those. But then the Mac Daddy, the grand prize of all.
Please. Oh, look at you.
I have Gwyneth Paltrow officially sanctioned buttermilk biscuits.
Oh, John. Oh.
These came from Whole Foods. And you can order them through Amazon apparently too. If Amazon delivers Whole Foods stuff in your area. I looked these up. Mm-hmm. These are not cheap, by the way. There's 6 biscuits in here for $9.
Okay. Wow.
So not inexpensive, but people on Amazon on the reviews say that they're worth it. Apparently they're totally worth it. And certainly Chef Matt said he liked the appearance of them and he thought they looked good.
That's
and I'm going to try what he said, by the way, of getting the little melted butter and the brush and
brush it on,
going back and forth a few times. Yeah. So
will you give us a reaction video when you make them?
If you'd like, sure.
Will you keep your leg up like Gwyneth Paltrow did?
No, I don't know about that. These bake, it says 22 minutes.
Okay.
Or you can do them in an air fryer as well. It says you can do them in an air fryer. So my sincere thanks to Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth, you're welcome to come by anytime. I will save a couple of these. Just ring the, come to the office and I'll throw a couple of these in the oven. I have to say, I was in the store. I was I was obsessed with finding these.
That's great.
And I knew what I was looking for. And I kept seeing products that I thought were those biscuits. Mm-hmm. And when I saw them, they looked really good.
Okay.
So I ended up buying them also. And I got I saw these sugar cookies.
Oh, now are those frozen? I can't tell what you've got there.
These are frozen. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Ooh, brown butter sugar cookies.
I got the sugar cookies, and then I got don't tell my doctor. Chocolate chip.
My friend John, I won't tell your doctor.
Thank you. That's
amazing. That looks
so good. So chocolate chip.
Hey.
And then I also saw they had fettuccine.
Oh, okay.
And then they had spaghetti.
Delicious.
As well.
All right.
And this was very exciting. The
pizza.
Pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Not a huge pizza, I'll have to say.
Okay. Was it expensive?
This was like $12, which I would not normally pay. Okay. But in fact, I wouldn't even set foot usually in Whole Foods at all. But this is kind of interesting. They make a big deal on the back of all of these products. They talk about all these sort of fancy ingredients. On this one, it says, we didn't have to split the atom to reinvent pizza. We had to split the almond.
Oh, but wait.
Who knew?
Meghan is splitting the banana and hopes to reinvent the banana split. So
right. This is grain-free, gluten-free, and soy-free.
Great.
What's not to like?
That's
and this says that it's got savory eggs.
As opposed to sweet eggs?
I guess.
Okay.
Arrowroot flour.
Yeah.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
And at the bottom here, they also have a sense of humor, which I always appreciate. It says, scientists are not working to find a cure for uncured pepperoni. Oh. So that's good. That's what it says here down at the bottom.
That's good.
And I know you were talking with Chef Matt about where these guys are from. This is Capello's and Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
So I don't know what they know in Denver, Colorado that other people don't know about making pizza, but we're going to find out.
I need you to report back to us. Can you snap some pictures maybe?
I will. Okay. I will. And
review.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. But like I said, I was very excited. I was in the store. I kept seeing stuff, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up with. I didn't even get a basket because all I wanted were those biscuits.
Uh-huh.
And then I kept walking by, and it's like, oh, that looks good. All right, I'll get that, and that looks good. Oh, and I think one of the pastas and one of the cookies were on clearance for half price, and so you can't say no to that, obviously.
Very obviously. Yeah, I'm dying to know if they're any good. What your thoughts are?
I will let you know. I'll report back.
Okay.
I'll take copious notes, as they say.
Good. And then we'll have Chef Matt rate and review your cooking.
Well, they're not as, the only thing Chef Matt is going to be able to rate is whether the pizza stayed on the tin or whether it slid off onto the floor. That's going to be the extent of the rating ability, I think. So,
oh, it's fine.
Right.
That's funny. But that's wonderful. I think that's amazing. You definitely have to let us know. And guys, in case you're wondering about all this and you didn't see it, Gwyneth Paltrow, in one of the videos I did with Chef Matt, she and Meghan kind of seemingly had like a back and forth almost. And so Gwyneth was baking those exact biscuits, and we've all wanted those biscuits ever since. And I'm glad you found them. My friend John, I'm still only calling you that. You don't have your own identity. My friend W.
That's right. That's right.
You are just my friend, and otherwise, that's it.
By the way, there are some people who are saying that they disagree that Gwyneth Paltrow is throwing shade at Meghan, and there are other people that are saying that they disagree. Who is it? Tracy Anderson, the other. They say, "Oh no, she's not throwing shade at Meghan either."
Okay.
I don't know how, especially Gwyneth Paltrow, okay, fine, I can sort of see it either way. But when Tracy Anderson said my actual kitchen,
can
I just touch on Tracy Anderson as well, just for a second?
Yes.
I don't know. I had very limited contact, or not contact. I had very limited knowledge of Tracy Anderson. I think I might have seen her here and there, but I didn't put a connection between the name and the face or anything like that. Mm-hmm. When I saw her video the other day, I just thought, there's a person that I would conceivably like to get to know. I get it. She's married. I'm not talking about that. But, it's...
No, I feel you're saying more friendly.
She's an attractive woman. She's charming. She seems fun. She seems interesting. Those are all.
We're not talking about me right now. We're talking about Tracy, though. Just kidding.
Well, listen, two things can be true at the same time. There's, come on. But, you get the point of what I'm saying. She just looked like somebody that you thought, wow, I'm going to listen to what she has to say because she looks like an interesting person. And she looks like a person, even if just for example, let's say I met her for 30 seconds in a receiving line or even less.
Yeah.
I would just be very interested to get a sense of what her vibe is and how does she react to other people. She looks like she's a person that most people would enjoy being around. Sure. As Jen, you and I have talked offline several times, I have what I call my beer and pizza list.
Yes.
Where the names of people that I would love to sit down with and have a pizza, order a pizza, have a beer while we're waiting for the pizza to arrive, and then eat the pizza. And everybody's going to have tomato sauce on their fingers, and it's just, you would feel very comfortable around that type of person. Tracy Anderson on my beer and pizza list. Okay. I think definitely. Gwyneth Paltrow, same thing.
Yeah. Catherine. Same thing.
Oh, absolutely, Catherine. Mm-hmm. I would think she would be hilarious.
Yeah, I think
if you got a beer into her, I think she would absolutely be just absolutely hilarious.
She was drinking Guinness, yeah.
Right. Especially since, as we've talked about, that when they did that video and she got into the Land Rover, the stick shift, the manual transmission Land Rover with a sundress. I was like, that dull thudding noise that you hear in the background is half the guys in the United States fainting and falling to the floor. Here's a woman who looks good in a dress, and she's apparently totally at ease driving a truck, not only a truck, but a standard transmission truck. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
That's right. Would Prince William be on your beer and pizza list?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And so would, Princess Anne.
Yeah. And Sophie, I think, would be.
Oh, and Sophie is fantastic. And all of these people, but Prince Andrew, maybe.
Yeah.
King Charles, okay, he is the king, so he can come to the table, I guess, and he can we'll save him a slice. But
when I saw Prince Charles do that walk in Scotland, I thought he might be a fun beer and pizza because he was much more, he was in a different role. He's just taking a walk in Scotland when those bikers happen upon him. And he's
yes, this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. And he did let he let the New Zealand rugby players give him a big hug too, which was very funny and very cool. So yes, that's why I said, we would save him a slice.
Yes.
Harry.
Can you imagine? I'm
not Meghan, just
eat pizza.
I don't know. Just not the same. No. But you get the point. So anyway, Gwyneth yes, she's definitely got a slice. Tracy Anderson, she gets a slice.
You get a slice and you get a slice. Okay.
Yeah, right. So anyway, that's my new metric is the beer and pizza list.
All right, that's interesting metric. I think going forward.
And you and Chef Matt would certainly get a slice.
All right, yay!
Yeah, and who? I'm sure. And Taz and
the Sidley twins. There you go.
Yes, Nancy and Stephanie and Cheer Denise and Royal News Brittany.
That's right.
And Royal Grift. The list is endless of fun people.
Ooh, I'm going to put you on the spot. HG.
Oh, HG, of course. Of course. You know what? I think he'd be the life. I think he would entertain the entire table.
I think so too.
I really do.
I'd get more beer in him and ask him to tell us the rest of the Meghan story, like when he met Meghan. Yeah.
Absolutely. I wish, you know what I think would be great? All you people at the palace that are watching, hint, I would gladly fly to London for a garden party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For a garden party.
Can I be your friend plus one? Because I want to go too.
Well, right. And people, I think that between United, which has a hub here, British Airways, Virgin, I don't know who else. There's like 6 flights that go between Washington and London every evening. I would gladly jump on it. The airplanes are not a problem. The travel is not a problem.
Yeah.
Just let us know, the Megxit community, the next time there are a couple spaces at a garden party, and we'll be there.
That's right. I'll even wear a fascinator and everything. That's right.
Yes. And I desperately want one of those, the top hats that, I've got the Bobby hat. Did I wear the Bobby hat for you, or was that?
It was not me.
Look, this will prove that I'm a worthy invitee.
Okay.
To the garden party.
Well, you've got to wear that to the garden party.
Well, I don't want to be accused of anything. No, this is the real deal. I'll zoom in a little bit. This came from Essex.
Oh my gosh, how'd you get that?
Oh, it's a long story.
Okay.
It's a long story. I did not conk a Bobby on the back of the head or anything. These are if people have never seen these are beautifully made. They have different straps in here that you can use depending on whether you're, I guess, running or whatever you're doing. They have this beautifully crafted leather band, and then the inside of it up at the top is all made of cork. You can kind of see the cork that's in there. They're really beautiful. And this, let me see who made this. This is a custodian helmet from the Compton Web Headdress Limited Company. Newland Whitney, Oxon, period. Whatever, I'm assuming that's an abbreviation. I don't know what Oxon's short for. GB. I'm guessing that stands for Great Britain. Just a guess, but anyway, yeah.
That's very cool.
That's right. You've been now blessed with my helmet, my Bobby helmet.
Okay, that's impressive. I had no idea you had that.
You know where the name Bobby came from? I was telling somebody this the other day. You know where that came from, by the way?
No.
There's a guy named Sir Robert Peel, who is considered to be the grandfather or the father of modern British policing. And I believe that he was responsible for creating those hats. And I'm sure, I mean, the keyboards, I'm sure, are already going berserk. No, he didn't. No, but the reason Bobbies are called Bobbies is in honor of Robert Peel.
Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea.
Yes. So you can, you can Google Sir Robert Peel and knock yourself out. It's all there.
Okay. We'll do that. That's amazing. So I had brought a little bit more if you feel like it. Oh, I do want to play one clip with Meghan. There was one name that she referred to Harry as that we have not talked about. And I feel like people would scream at me in the comments if I didn't play this one clip. This is from the New York summit. It would have been, was it 2023? I think maybe 2024. I think it was 2023. But here we go. Take a listen to this. This is her speaking at the summit.
Thing in my entire life. And
hold on one second. I can fix that. It won't take down that photo. Hold on. All right, try again.
Thing in my entire life. And outside, of course, being a wife to this one.
So it's like
a blink
thing you'll miss it
my entire life. And outside, of course, being a wife to this one.
She was talking about motherhood being the most important thing in her entire life, outside of being a wife to this one. So she called him this one.
Very interesting.
Something that you would do if you accidentally forgot somebody's name for a second. How are you doing? It's good to see you, or something, it just seems like a slip up. Like if you were going to introduce me to one of your friends' wives and you forgot her name and you're like, oh yeah, this is my friend, whatever,
Yeah. I will say, in Meghan's defense on this, given what we were just talking about, I think there is a certain playfulness associated with referring to Harry as this one. Because I've had friends, all female refer to who's going to drive this one, referring to me. You know what I mean? Who made the dip for the football watching party? Oh, this one over here. So there is a certain playfulness to that, but at the same time, given everything else that we know now about, again, trying to draw all of those people that referred to me as this one promptly turned around and referred to me again within 5 minutes as John.
Yeah, sure.
So it's almost kind of a joke, but in the larger context of her apparent reluctance or her seeming reluctance to call Harry by his name,
it's interesting.
I agree. It's worth noting.
Well,
certainly.
And the other thing worth noting is I am with you. I'm the queen of having a sense of humor. I mean, I just like to joke about everything, clearly. So at a football party, at a friends gathering, a game night, of course, call me that one. Forget my name. When I was talking with Chef Matt the other day, like randomly I called him Chef Mike, and I was like, and he was like, "How dare you?" Like we're just joking. Nobody got mad. It was just that was it.
Right.
Because again, it's just a friendly context. This was a speech about children who have taken themselves out. And she was talking about, and she said this one, or, whatever she just said. I don't know in a professional setting if that's the best place to do that. But okay, fair enough. One off. But in the context of everything else in the scheme of things, it seems to be a pattern she likes to. He is no longer Harry. I can't think of her calling him Harry.
I can't really either. And again, it's so odd in the context, you saw the way that the way that she at least, latched onto him when they were up in Vancouver at the Invictus Games in this very what a lot of people thought was a very, very over-the-top display of affection or love bombing or whatever you want to call it. And yet you look at her references to him when she's speaking and something's not lining up.
You're absolutely right. You look at the way she treats them when they're walking around, something's not adding up. It's weird. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I think the big takeaway, and it's been discussed many times before, but it's a possession, seemingly, and it's a dominance. Some people, I think Brittany just this afternoon, referred to it as being henpecked.
Okay.
Ouch. You know, I've heard
Not
people
wrong,
use.
but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just it's kind of like, ow, that really kind of stings. And people, I see the word simp thrown away around all the time for Harry.
Called the handbag Harry, like he just would stand in the back and hold her purse, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, you would think that most people would be able to talk to their significant other and say, look, please don't do that. You know, stop putting your hand in the middle of my back and kind of pushing me as though I'm, you know, a 14-year-old saying, go on, shake his hand.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Yeah. And it almost suggests a relationship where they don't know each other in terms of, I don't like the name Jenny. If you don't know that, you might call me Jenny, and then I'm going to correct you and say, please don't call me Jenny, you know, that kind of thing. It's something you learn about somebody. Oh, she doesn't like the name Jenny. Okay, I won't do that again. It's so weird. Do you
like that song 8675309?
No, not so much.
Not so much. Okay. All right. Just checking.
Now that I've said that, everybody's going to call me Jenny. I don't hate it. If I'm picking Jen or Jennifer.
I see.
So there's that. My friend John.
Right.
But
Jenny, Jenny.
Oh, are you going to sing for us? Please. I'll let you sing. I mean, I'll let you call me that if you'll sing the song. Go for it. Let's go.
Jenny from the block.
Oh yeah. Any other Jennies? No, I can't think of anything. Let's see. But any songs with John in it you can think of? Oh, Dear John, the theme song to Dear John, the TV show. I remember that.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. Anyway, but if anything you'd like to sing for us, please go ahead.
I'll keep that in mind.
That's right.
Take that under advisement.
I'm still waiting for your advisement on these geese. Those are my geese, and she's.
I told you. I'll have to do a little research, and it might just be a simple case of.
Can I send a cease and desist about my geese?
Yeah, misappropriation of likeness. Whatever.
Right. That's right. So, John, I think we'll end this here. We're going to record separately on the other weirdness she's up to. I'm sorry, my friend W, as you'll now be called from now on. We're going to wrap this up here. Any final thoughts on any of this? Do you feel, I mean, I don't know.
No, I think it's good. You know what? I will just say one thing. And I think this is important to say. I read something today that really bothered me, and it had to do with apparently there are people who are saying some really unkind things directly to Meghan, in terms of, you know, and Harry, I guess, and, you know, in terms of threats and, you know, threats of harm and threats of very serious harm. There's no room for any of that. And I would hope, and I strongly suspect, knowing a little bit about your audience, that it would not be anybody in your audience that's doing that kind of thing. But I just think it's important to be on record, regardless of what anybody thinks of Meghan. And we've talked about these things before. It's like, look, Harry and Meghan deserve peace, happiness, food, warmth, shelter, companionship, all of that stuff. We all get it. And so to suggest that somehow they should be harmed in some way is, I think, extremely inappropriate. And I just wanted to say that, because you can't say that enough.
You're right. That's a good point to make. Because that is exactly my complaint with the, whatever you want to call them, the mediocre mafia of the Sussex squad, is they go after people and they take it to these dark, scary places and never, ever, no, we would never encourage anything like that. It's different to not like somebody and to talk about, what I think are valid criticisms of somebody. I'm not trying to, go after anything like that. I'm totally on the same page. I think that's a good point to be made. You're right.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think of a way to make that funny, but I got nothing. So, so I will be doing harm to my friend W over here. Other than that,
right. There you go.
But we can do harm by following your Instagram, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll follow you on Instagram. What's that handle again?
It's Witherspoon DC.
Okay, we'll definitely give that a follow. And you said offline you're still thinking about the possible channel.
I am, and I was out today driving around, going to Trader Joe's and going to Whole Foods, and I was admiring some of the cherry trees are starting to come out. The variety that blooms first is kind of on the way, and so I'm thinking that would be a great thing to, this is a great time of year to talk about Washington and just show people around a little bit, and people have asked for that, so I'm going to try very hard to do that.
That would be fantastic. I think that sounds great, and definitely let us know once you got that going, and we'll follow you. So that's great.
Thank you.
We hope you take some of our naming suggestions, of course, but we look forward to seeing what you call it.
Thanks.
My friend John. Hopefully, you should call it My Friend John's channel. That'd be good.
We'll see.
I'm brilliant. I'm Meghan. Okay. Call it the Base channel. Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to have you back soon and talk about more ridiculousness that I'm sure these two will be up to in no time.
And biscuits.
Yeah,
biscuits and pizza.
We're back on the biscuits. That's important. That's right. All right. And update us on your beer and pizza list. Let us know if anybody else makes the list.
I will. I definitely will.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.